Okay, so here I am for the review of the men's heavyweight division for the 2016 Olympics in Rio. 91 kilograms or 201 pounds. Ostensibly, it is the amateur version, essentially the Olympic version of the cruiserweight division in pro boxing. And honestly, to be honest, to be real, I think there was a little bit of controversy, or a lot of controversy, going into this gold medal match between Evgeny Tischenko of Russia and Vassiliy Levit of Kazakhstan. Tischenko managed to get the decision. I believe I'm not sure if it was a split or a unanimous decision over Vassiliy Levit. I think it might have been a split, but oh, you know what? No, I'm actually looking at the score right now. It was a unanimous decision over Vassiliy Levit. But to be real, I thought Levit really did the more concrete work. I thought that his punches were cleaner, more effective. He even dropped Tischenko at some point, and the ref called it a slip, so Levit didn't really even get credit for that. He cut Tischenko. I'm not sure if that was a cut from a clash of heads or from a punch, but regardless, even before and after the cut, Levit was doing excellent work. To be real, I think that the one round that you could have given to Tischenko, and really arguably done so in a good fashion, was the first round. But from the second and the third round on, man, it seemed like Levit was in control of the action. He closed the distance. He rendered Tischenko's height and reach advantages pretty much useless. Went in there, roughed him up, and it was something that he had pretty much done throughout the tournament. Every single fight that Levit had, whether it was against Tischenko, Arislani Savon, Kennedy St. Pierre, he was a consistent performer. He was the most consistent performer in these Olympics. Even going back to his very first fight against China's Yu Fengkai, he scored a technical knockout over him, just beat the brakes off of him. And he was a guy that was able to close distance, rough guys up on the inside, hurt him to the body, hurt him to the head. And I mean, to me, he took down the two medal favorites of the heavyweight division, those being Arislani Savon and Evgeny Tischenko. Unfortunately for him, though, in the finals, he didn't get the credit for it, and he winds up with a silver medal here. The crowd was voicing their displeasure pretty heavily at the decision to see that the Russian fighter managed to get it over the Kazakhstani, or the Kazakh, and it's really bad to see a bad decision like that at the very last fight of the tournament for one of these weight classes. I've done a few videos on some bad decisions. I also didn't do a couple videos on a couple other bad decisions because I felt that they weren't quite as bad, quite as flagrant as some of the ones that I did. But this one was, I don't know. I really can't agree with it at all. I thought that Levit clearly was more effective, just both in the boxing sense and in the fighting sense. He was hurting Tischenko pretty repeatedly with his shots, whereas Tischenko landed some clean shots on Levit, but to me they didn't really seem to have like much of an effect or really get him in proper distance, and in a way where he was actually getting a strategic advantage, a technical advantage over Levit. But Levit was able to land blows that gave him both a technical advantage and a physical advantage by way of hurting Tischenko. In spite of that, though, Tischenko had a couple of good victories over Rustam Tulaganov, who was another medal favorite, Clemente Russo, who of course defeated Deontay Wilder way back in 2008. He's a guy that's been a very highly accomplished amateur fighter, and he had one of the best fights of the heavyweight division against Juan Nogueira of Brazil, one of the hometown heroes of these games. Of course, Tulaganov, the aforementioned Tulaganov, gets a bronze medal after taking a loss to Evgeny Tischenko, and Arislani Savon of Cuba gets his bronze after taking a loss to Vassiliy Levit, and what was actually one of the best fights of the heavyweight division. That was a very good fight as well. It's really just unfortunate to see everything go down like that. There was a couple other heavyweights that were very good fighters. The aforementioned Juan Nogueira of Brazil, I thought did an excellent job in his very first fight against Jason Watley of Australia, and did a hell of a job against Tischenko in his second fight. Just made it an outright war all three rounds. That was a fight that I thought could have gone either way, in spite of the fact that the judges favored Tischenko in the end, gave him a unanimous decision. And I guess it wound up being kind of a sense of things to come, as Tischenko wound up getting a decision similarly over Vassiliy Levit. Arislani Savon had done a very good job up until meeting Vassiliy Levit. gave a very good technical masterpiece over Lawrence Okoye. Although he did look a little bit slow to begin, was able to show the class over Okoye, showing that the overall experience really matters. Okoye is a relative novice in boxing as a whole and amateur boxing in particular. And then got a good decision over Yamo Peralta of Argentina, who gave him a pretty tough fight, a pretty gritty fight. Not quite as gritty as Levit, however, and Savon managed to get a clear unanimous decision over him. But outside of the final fight, I thought it was a good showing from the heavyweights. Just a good showing all the way around. Congratulations to Tischenko, in spite of the fact that I didn't think that he deserved the gold. Big congratulations to Vassiliy Levit of Kazakhstan, who definitely deserved at the very least the silver. And I thought, to me, he was the best fighter in the heavyweight Olympics by far. Vassiliy Levit did a damn good job of the most consistent fighter throughout the entire division, and just to me the clear the heads-on best fighter of the division. And honestly, I think that should he turn pro after these Olympics, he's gonna be a hell of a pro. I wouldn't even blame him though if he was to stay as an amateur, maybe for another year, potentially to try and get revenge on Tischenko, maybe in next year's World Amateur Championships, the AIBA Championships in 2017. Since they do the AIBA Championships every 2 years, so it'll be 2017 and 2019 for the next couple. So I wouldn't be surprised if Levit decided to stay as an amateur for a little while longer, but I think as soon as he turns pro, he's going to be a force to be reckoned with in either the cruiserweight or the heavyweight divisions. Same to a certain degree for Rustam Tulaganov of Uzbekistan. Good, strong pro style in a certain fashion. And Erslandy Savon, of course, he's an amateur grade already, and should he manage to turn pro at some point in the near future, he'll be one to be reckoned with. But I just can't put it in too many more words how impressed I was with Vassiliy Levit. In spite of the fact that he only came up with the silver, to me he was clearly the best fighter of the heavyweight division. He was the most dominant in all of his victories, and he really deserved to get the gold. By comparison, Tulaganov, Tischenko, and Savon weren't quite as dominant in their previous fights all leading up into the semifinals. All three of them had some struggles going into that and going into the medal rounds. Levit, however, I thought cleanly won every fight that he managed to get a victory in, and to me, I thought he should have cleanly won the fight against Tischenko as well. So that's it for my heavyweight review, guys. I hope you enjoyed the overall division in spite of the bad decision at the very end of it. But sometimes these things wind up happening. But I think that Levit's going to have a very bright future, regardless of if it's in the amateurs or the pros, man. But I'm sure there's going to be a lot of professional promoters knocking down his doors to sign him, because he really showed out in these Olympics in a major way. So that's it for this one, guys. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.